and welcome. Kimberly Castleberry with another Internet Marketing Roundup. And since I've been gone about a week and a half, or a little more than that, due to being out with health, this is going to be a double feature. What we're going to do is we're going to cram all of the Facebook stuff into another post, okay? Because there's way too much going on in Facebook. You want to make sure that you don't miss that Facebook post because there's a lot of important stuff that's changed, including some rules and regulations that you really need to be sure you're on top of. So let's jump into the non-Facebook stuff. And I'm going to start with Google+. The Google+ communities, actually, and we want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. At this point, Google+ communities have been out several weeks now, and we've really had a chance to start to delve into them, to form some, to really have some fun with them. They're pretty versatile, but at the same time, there's a lot of issues that really need work. Not at all uncommon for a first release, really a beta release. Nobody betaed these outside of the internal team. So this is really kind of a beta release, although they're stable enough to be in production. That's fine. But there's really some things in them that need tweaked. Events need to be deeper integrated with communities so that communities can hold events. Hangouts need to be worked on so that groups can hold hangouts and so that moderators can restrict who can get into those hangouts and you don't accidentally violate the privacy of the group by holding a hangout. And something that I've really noticed is really twofold. One, there remains no possibility of disabling the email notifications for the group without also disabling the little pop notifications that are in the corner of your browser. And so what you do is you'll start getting an active group and it will get very busy and you'll start getting too many emails and you'll click the little chime icon to disable those notifications and you'll think that gets rid of the emails, but it also gets rid of the pop notifications, which isn't cool in a lot of ways. So you think maybe you can go to your user settings where you control other things that are email versus pop notifications, and you think you'll find a setting there, and you actually do not. You find a setting that lets you control when you get notified if somebody invites you to a group. But the additional settings are just not there. And it's very unusual of Google+ to not have the ability to separate the email and pop notifications. I imagine that's in the works. That is something that is so central through the rest of the Google+ environment that I would imagine that's coming. But at the moment, it's a pretty big annoyance. Another annoyance for some people is that if you're a member of a public group and you post in the group, when you post, not as a comment, but when you post, something fresh on the wall, that entry then shows up on your public profile that's not related to the group. And so other individuals see that. And it's not necessarily a problem for most of us that other individuals see that, but that if we're active in a group, it really can change how our profile looks to others. It can look like we're only talking about Star Trek, because we're in an active Star Trek group, when in fact, our primary focus is social media and social marketing, but we just happen to have gotten into a group, and that's what we're talking about today. And the way our profiles look to a first-time visitor, to somebody just arriving, somebody that comes in actually looks at the profile itself, is very important to a lot of us because it has a lot to do with whether somebody will put us in a circle. And so I really would like to see there to be a checkbox that says, should posts in this group post on my profile? Makes sense. Then if I'm talking in a social marketing group, particularly my own group, then I can say, make that appear on my profile. I may not want to send traffic to another social media group, and I definitely wouldn't want to send traffic to a Star Trek group too often, okay? I'm sure you can understand where I'm coming from. This really impacts what is the flavor of these groups, and we got to really work on getting Google to adjust a couple things. It's just ironing stuff out. The groups are really stable. They're rather useful. I like the internal topic threads. You have to be careful you don't delete one because it will delete everything that was in that subboard. But at the same time, it's very nice to be able to essentially filter through what's on the wall and find the right filter to view all the topics by that topic. So a mixed bag at the moment. Definitely something you're going to want to leverage. You're going to want to leverage Google Plus regardless. It's kind of simple. If your business is taking advantage of Google, if you're getting SEO traffic, traffic, if you're depending on some SEO traffic, you want Google in your pocket. You want Google to be doing the things you want it to do, which is bring you some traffic, which means you need to be doing the things that Google wants you to do, which means using their stuff. It's kind of simple. I know it doesn't always seem that way, and I know sometimes it's even a pain in the rump, but yeah, that's what they want. It's what they want, and if you do what they want, you get back for that. And so you got to pay attention to that, even when it's not necessarily the most intuitive thing to do for your particular business. All right, enough rambling on about Google+. Bunch of big stuff going on in the WordPress community this week, namely 2 big vulnerabilities right after a WordPress version release. WordPress 3.5 is out, and it's been out more than 2 weeks now. You need to be getting updated. You need to fully back up your site. That includes both your database and your contents. Don't have just a database backup. Make sure you get your contents. Contact me if you need assistance with this. I offer this as a service, both a one-time and an ongoing monthly service that I can keep you set up, keep all your updates done for you if you don't want to stress over it yourself, but you got to get it done. The reason you have to get it done is because when we publish a new version, open source software has to publish what changed and all the changed code. And that gives those vulnerabilities to hackers. And so those become published vulnerabilities that any kid can get their hands on. That any bored individual, you don't have to be a rocket scientist or even a real particularly smart kid to get your hands on these vulnerabilities and exploit them because they're published information. And so not updating is very, very dangerous to your site. I don't like updating in the first week. Things are too unstable. Most plugins aren't up to date. One of my favorites, TinyMCE Advanced, not TinyMCE Ultimate, but I prefer the Advanced, which is actually easier to use. They didn't get updated right away. It took them about a week and a half. I still updated my site. There was no hang-ups, but it did create a little styling issue in the little visual editor for itself. But it wasn't a big thing, but I was glad when that plugin got updated for sure. But if you haven't updated your blog, get it done. Come on. Okay. There are vulnerabilities related to WordPress that are not related to the version. That means these have to do with something outside of what version you're using. So you have to pay attention whether you're on 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, whatever you're on, you got to pay attention to this. It's a trackback and pingback vulnerability. I published a big post about this. Initially, the workaround was kind of tacky. Fortunately, a good friend and colleague, Nathan Briggs, has published a plugin that all you do is you install the thing, tell it to go, and it works around this issue. It does disable the XML RPC. So if you're connecting remotely by an app that uses XML RPC, most of you aren't, then you're going to not be able to connect by that. However, that's important because it's the XML RPC that's being used to attack the site. And so we need to work around this. Real short order, probably a couple weeks, we should see a sub update from WordPress, and they will probably patch this. I can't guarantee that though, and you need to get this patch in place using this plugin in the meantime. If you patched manually, you're actually fine, but I went ahead and I reverted the manual patch, and I'm using the plugin because the plugin actually is more stable than the manual patch. And so it's actually a better solution, and then you can just deactivate and ditch the plugin when this is all over. There's been some big changes to AdSense. There's a whole review of that up on the AdSense blog. I'm going to link to that below. Thanks to Eileen Smith from Basic Blog Tips for sharing that link. Another thing that's really interesting, another link I want you to go read. I've talked a lot about the Buffer plugin and about the add-on for your blog and, you know, the add-on for your browser and the way to use Buffer to really manage all the content you're syndicating and to not flood your social media channels. There's a really cool blog post called The Top 10 Secret Buffer Hacks and Features. They're not really hacks, but there was even some stuff in there that I hadn't seen. They've made some updates recently to bring some really cool tools. That system just keeps getting better. And if you're not using Buffer, you need to really look into it. And they now integrate with Twiriad. And I've talked about Twiriad before. Twiriad produces a really interesting timing report. And I've been a fan of Twiriad for a long time. And the new integration between Twiriad and Buffer is definitely worth having a look at. If you don't know what Twiriad is, go have a look at them. If you got questions, be sure you put those in the comments below. A couple other things. There's a few really, really good larger communities in the industry today. Two of them, and two different ones, and I'll elaborate on this in a moment, are running big lifetime membership promotions at the moment. These are communities that don't generally run lifetime membership promotions, or when they do, they are not at these rates that they are at. If you are a member of the more hardcore internet marketing niche, I suggest you check out The Syndicate. That's by Dr. Ben Atkins, and that is a really tight community of people that are very dedicated to internet marketing, and there's a lot of good results out of there. A lot of people really sing the praises of that community. The other is the NAMS community, My NAMS, and that is a community that is focused on niche affiliate marketing, and they're very, very good at helping you lay down a very solid business foundation to grow your business on. Instead of being all this hype and all this high-strung IM stuff and all that kind of stuff, they're a lot more business focused, a lot more clear-minded about what they do. And there's all the aspects that you might expect from internet marketing. They're all in there, but it's a very different cup of tea. It's a very, a lot more grounded community, a lot more, I want to say holistic in the sense of being whole as in big picture. And there's a lot of good stuff coming out of that community. A lot of people doing very well there. I will be at their February conference that is being held in Atlanta, Georgia, early February. Get tickets. I would like to see you there. But definitely look into the lifetime memberships for both of those communities. And if you're a member of the My NAMS community, be sure you grab the link to the 7-part series, because if you haven't already gone through the 7-part series, that's an important step in being sure that you get the most out of having the lifetime membership with NAMS. It's very valuable and very solid, just a rock solid community. But if you don't go through the 7-part series, you won't even know half the stuff is there. It's such a large community at this point that you really need a roadmap to know where everything is at. All right, there's actually a few more things still on my mind, but I'm going to see about putting them in another video. This has run on a bit, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this helps you stay up to date on what's new in social media and social marketing. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments below. There's an opt-in form probably up there. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, come to the website, come visit me, come hang out and opt in, and I will see you again in the next video.